Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Cheeky Journals. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to combine a magazine video with a junk journal with me. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I have a series on my channel where I show you some of my favorite magazines, and I usually will do a flip through and talk about how I'm planning to use the images and how I get inspiration from it. Today we're going to go through the Frankie magazine. I'm going to do a very quick flip through and try and keep it as short and sweet as I can. And then instead we're going to get out my junk journal and we're going to see how we can use some of the images in here. So this is an extra special bumper issue. It's issue 96, and in Australia it retails for $13.95, in New Zealand for $15.95, and in the UK for £9.99. It's also available in the USA. I'm just not sure what it retails for. You can get them quite easily, I think, at news agencies, or that's the way it seems to me. This is a bi-monthly magazine, and it's all about design, art, photography, fashion, travel, music, craft, home, and life. So a little bit of everything. It's always got an eye-catching cover, so usually it's got a beautiful focal point on, or a pattern like this. It is something that always catches my eye, I have to say. I just want to make sure I'm in frame before we start. Right, I think we're in frame now. So opening up the magazine, you've got this beautiful purple border that I'll definitely be cutting out and using. Then we've got a note here from the editor. I am seeing words like lovely, pretty. I love the font and the colors. So that is something that you can cut out and use. You can use these words individually, or even looking at the sentence. It says feeling part of something is pretty darn lovely. You can cut that heading out and use it in your journal as is. Then we have the contents page, which is pretty standard in each magazine. We have some notes here from Frankie subscribers and fans. And then right at the top, it's always got a little heading there, and it's just telling you what this section is about. So it's called Frankie Bits, and they've just curated some items that they think you will love. So they mention where you can get it and how much it costs. I particularly love this bit. It's from an Etsy store called Wooden Works of Heart, and this lady makes beautiful sceneries that you can display in your home. She makes them from wood that she foraged from pallets, old furniture, and from the side of the road. I think that is really creative. Then we have some articles, and they are talking here to a band. And then this is a Lebanese designer that's designing clothes. These images are bright and beautiful, and I think if you do art journaling and you love using magazines, this will be right up your alley. So having a background and adding this with a quote, I think will look really good. Then we move on to yarn, and this color palette is beautiful. I would, if I want to design a journal and I'm not sure where to start, going through magazines and looking at color palettes is a really good thing to do. So I can get scrapbook paper and fabric in this color palette, and that's just a starting off point. Also, if you want to paint something or you want to color something in and you're not sure what colors to choose, you can use inspiration from this. I love the floral pattern, and I think I'm definitely going to use that in my junk journal today. Then this part is about the outsiders, and they're just talking to people that have felt like they've been outsiders and how they've moved through life. And these pictures remind me of those Tim Holtz photo booth photos. So you can definitely use that in a similar way if you love vintage junk journaling. Then we move on to some mustard. So they've tasted mustard and they're just letting you know which one's the best. I really can't see myself using this page at all. Maybe using this jar in a collage will work. That's all I can see. And then I found this really inspirational. It's about girls in India that are empowering themselves. We've got some cartoon images here. I think they will definitely be used in my journals. Then I saw this, and again, immediately I went to Tim Holtz and his die cut pieces, those ephemera packs. It reminds me of them. I actually have a piece here that I got from one of his packs, and doesn't that just look so similar? So you can definitely be cutting this out and using it in a similar manner like you would use those ephemera pieces. So this guy's father-in-law and his brother collected beer mats in the 60s and 70s, and when he passed away he found all these beer mats in his home, and he decided to document the collection on Instagram so it can give some inspiration to graphic designers, which I thought was really kind and nice of him. Then we move on to an interview with a singer and songwriter. This is a photographer that documents Laundry Day in Hong Kong. Really interesting, very colorful photos. Then we have putting pen to paper. So this is just a guide if you have a pen pal or you're into Snail Mail. That is a good read. They've also included some snail mail supplies. So we've got some DIY envelopes. It's really self-explanatory, just cutting it out, fold on the dotted lines and then add some glue. So this is the inside of the envelope and that is the outside. Then we have the matching note paper, and it's also got a design at the back. And they've actually included quite a lot of these, more than what I thought they would, and I love the color palette. It's very muted, and I generally think that this will work in any type of journal. And this is just a pattern, and we don't have a writing paper or an envelope at the back, so that could be used as scrapbook paper. Then this is a Perth-based circus group. And this is a Californian artist that makes toys. It seems very intricate. I also love that they include some success stories. So if you like that type of thing, this was a really good article. So it's a pastry chef that left her job. She started making popcorn, and she's just talking about her success and all the hard work that went into it. But it's really, you can get something from it. It gives you some inspiration if you want to start your own thing. Then we've got this couple, and they're just showing off how they've decorated their home. I really love her studio and all the quirky things that she's got in there. It really reminds me of our junk journalers and how we love to collect things like that as well and use tins as storage. Then we've got these little notes or cardstock cards. It's got a pattern, and then at the back it's got a question like, which old trend do you wish would make a comeback? What's your most controversial opinion? So you can either answer the question and tip it into your journal, or you can just add a photo over it, and then you've still got the pattern at the back. We've got some fancy oven mitts here, and they all have, some of them have quirky pictures on, and some have florals. It's really a good variety, and I think that will be a nice thing to cut out and also use in some collages. We've got more photography here. And then we've got the iconic pattern, which I will definitely be using as well. This is a photographer that gets inspiration from things close to her home. And then we've got the Good Stuff Awards. So this is a competition that you can send in your creations, and there's different categories. So each judge is just talking about what they're looking for. So we've got art and illustration, craft, photography, music, small business, writing and podcasts, video design, community, and fashion. And if you were wondering what the Frankie Magazine's about, all those categories that I've read out, that basically sums up this whole magazine. Then we have just recipe and the method of making sourdough loaf. This is a Japanese tattoo artist, and he's just talking about how he got into his career and all the things that he had to go through. Then we've got 4 writers sharing a pop culture moment that truly struck a chord with them. And we've got some stickers, something that journalists love using. And this is a artist and illustrator from Melbourne. They had an interview with her, and she basically does murals on walls and some design work on paper as well. Then Frankie's just sharing some favorite podcasts, and I think this is my most favorite part of this magazine. I love the paper dolls. They're actually advertising these clothes and you can try them on. I thought it's such a good idea, and I can't wait to cut this out and use it in my journal. I think the only problem I will have is choosing which side I would like to have, since it's double-sided, which is always a problem with magazines. And then we've got an A3 poster here. It's got beautiful images. It's going to be quite difficult to show this whole poster to you, but I will try my best. And this again is something that I will be cutting out and using. So they've got support sustainable businesses, practice saying no to plastic, and then these images will obviously be upside down. And then it's perforated. If you tear it out at the back, you've got a calendar. We have some creative henna tattoos. And we are now almost getting to the end of this magazine. We've got quirky images from an artist, beautiful, bright. So that is something that I will be cutting out and using in a journal as well. And I think what I'm going to do next is just quickly page through the magazine, see what catches my eye, tear it out, cut a few images, and then get my junk journal and start with the process. It's me again here. I'm back with a voiceover, and these are all the things that I got from the Frankie magazine. I love the envelopes, and I fussy cut out most of the images. I tend to always do this when I'm done reading the magazines and I'm going into that harvesting process, is to tear out things that I find I'll be able to use in my journal or that I'm inspired by, and then I'll sit and just cut them all out because I'm more inclined to use them. Otherwise, I feel that I just overlook a lot of stuff. Of course, like the note paper, or if there's a pattern that's going across the whole page, I won't be cutting anything out. I'll keep it as it is, and then at a later stage I'll be deciding how I'm going to use it, whether I'm binding it into a journal, which in that case I'll keep it as it is, or maybe if it's a pattern I'll be tearing it up and using it in a collage. I'm using that blue floral paper from the Frankie Magazine, and I'm also going to be sticking down this heading that says never stop rocking. On this day, I don't know what happened, but I ended up getting glue absolutely everywhere. I cracked open a new glue stick, and I don't know why, but everything that I stuck down just didn't stick down properly, and I had to go back in and add extra glue. I got glue on my fingers, and at some stage I even got it on my cheek. I only realized this at the end of the day when my husband asked me what's on your cheek, and it ended up being some glue. I am mostly using things that I got from the Frankie Magazine, but there are a few bits and bobs that I'm using from our stash, like this restaurant docket and then the music paper. We are in the process of moving, and I've got a few of those little pieces of paper in my stash, and I don't really want to pack it in and move it, but I also don't want to throw it away, so I'm trying to use up as much as I can. As you all know, music paper, brown paper and text paper is one of my staple pieces, and I'll almost use it in every junk journal with me, so I of course had to add some of it since I've got so many of those pieces lying around. This ephemera piece is from Tim Holtz, and I'm just going to be sticking that down. Of course, I'm going to be using the paper doll, the home bodies that I got from the magazine, and then also this oval image that I'm sticking down. It wasn't really planned, but it ended up being a very cohesive color scheme with some greens and yellows. I think I'm really happy with this and quite like how it turned out, especially because I was worried that the tuck spot on the next page is not really going to fit with the aesthetic of this page, but in the end it worked really well, and I think they complemented each other. I also want to add this green card. It's got a question at the back which I'll answer later, but I felt it needed something, so I've just stuck that image on there, and then I'll put it through my sewing machine later before tipping it in. I'm going back to the previous page, and I'm just pulling out a few things from our stash that I'm planning to use. This banner that I'm sticking down is from an old video that I've got, so if you would like to see how I've made them, I'll link the video down below. I am also going with some text paper here at the bottom, and then this collage piece that I'm sticking down is from a Tim Holtz ephemera pack, and also the square one that you can see over there is from the same pack. I've also got a postage stamp, and then the floral image is from a Daphne's Diary. In the tuck spot, I'm going to add an envelope, and I think in the Frankie Magazine I got about 4 or 5 envelopes, and as you saw, all of them had the most beautiful patterns on. It was quite difficult to choose. I was tossing up between the green and then this yellow, and I ended up going for the yellow. Now in the envelope I want to add a few photos, but I want to first adhere them to an index card. So I've got this card here that I just want to decorate before I add the photos. So I'm going with this check pattern, and then I am thinking of doing a second color at the bottom, And I'm going to play around with some greens and just see how that looks. But I think in the end I'm going to just stick with the white at the bottom because I quite like the contrast that it creates. I went ahead and I put these cards through my sewing machine. So I've done a messy, or I attempted to do a messy circle sewing pattern around the small card, and then I just went for a zigzag, very simple stitch on the index card. I'm going to be tipping in the small little card there at the bottom, and then it's got that question at the back which I will be answering at a later stage. On the index card, I just want to add another photo, and then I'm going to be doing some journaling at the back of the card. I'm pulling out some Tim Holtz stickers. This is one of my favorite parts to just embellish everything up, is to pull out some stickers and a few little extra pieces that really brings everything to life. I've also got some of those stickers from the magazine that I am just placing in certain spots where I feel it needs something extra. I still feel something is missing in the top corner, so I've gone back to my magazine clippings and I've chosen this image that I'm going to add to the top corner. I feel it really goes with everything, and I am going back to the envelope again, just embellishing it with another sticker, and then I'll also be writing just a heading on the envelope. This is a sticker book with labels in from IKEA that I got quite a while back. I'm not sure if it's available anymore, and I'm just stamping out book log with the date because I'm planning to just document a book that I've read, and I'm going to be doing it on this page over here. I'm adding those final touches after I've done all my journaling. So I've got a few stickers, some washi tape, and then I'm just going to be adding one last image from the Frankie Magazine, and then I'm calling this page done. I love using magazines in my journals. If you love doing that too, let me know down below in the comments what's your favorite magazine to use. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and then I'll see you in my next video.